Coming up on First Chorus First, last year I voted on the best 10 albums of the year while a few other people voted against what they didn't like. Let's see where that got us. That's next. Welcome everybody to First Chorus Verse. I am DL. I'm Diego. With me is Evil Boy Genius Jimmy. Evil, how you doing?
I'm very boy and very genius.
Very ready to rock out.
I'm here. I'm alive, kind of. Life and work are insane, so I'm in survival mode. We'll see how this goes.
I'm going to touch on that in a minute, but before we get to that, also, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a long day. Also with us is Rachel, but here we are, polio. Rachel, how are you today?
I am here. That's such an appropriate introduction. I am here.
Are you?
Yeah. Mentally. Physically more than mentally, probably.
There it is. Spiritually, maybe? Not at all spiritually?
Not at all.
You're still... So did you go to Disneyland again?
It's been a while.
It's been months.
It's been months.
Is that just...
The kid hadn't gone in a year.
So that's just what you guys do now? You guys just like work and then you go to Disneyland?
I feel like it's a very easy kid vacation.
But you don't go with the kid. We
took the kid.
But not always, though.
Well, last time we went to like Kennedy and did other things that he would not. Well, he might have enjoyed Kennedy a little bit, but.
Evil, what's going on with you? Why are you so stressed out? What is the wife doing to you?
Torture, pure torture. You want to see something?
Are you allowed to call her your wife yet?
Yes, for sure. I mean,
you
legally, but
legally, it's been more than 7 years.
Metaphorically,
so.
Yes. Do you guys want to see something?
Yes. Show us.
Probably Haley.
It's probably not, though. Oh, it is a dog. Oh, my God.
I knew it was Halen. I knew it.
He's so handsome.
This is part of it. This is part of my problem right here.
Halen, you sweet, sweet boy.
Yeah.
You're not a problem.
For people just listening, I have a brand new 11-week-old red golden retriever.
He's the cutest dog. Show us your dog.
Lift him up higher.
He's tired right now. We took him on a big, long walk. That's what took me a while. I kind of planned that so he would sleep through most of our recording. He's
nice.
a good boy.
He sleeps through most of the day, huh? No.
Babies and dogs.
We're going to pick you guys up because what I think is that this episode is going to help you discuss 3 of your favorite albums that you've listened to probably in the last at least 5 or 10 years. I knew
Christ.
Without any precedence, I was like, so for those of you that don't pay attention to the show, how dare you? For those of you that do know that this is the best of 2023 episode. What we do every year is we rank our 5 favorite albums individually, and then we rank our top 10 best albums. We do that with a vote. This is still a little bit of a trial and error because the way that certain votes came out, I think the 3 albums that ended up on our top 3, at least 66% of the people here don't even like. Rachel, would you agree with that?
The voting process could be adjusted for people that
we're blaming the voting
accidentally throw the vote.
We're going to talk about which album should be number 1 and how one specific person absolutely sabotaged it. Yeah.
I say get rid of the Electoral College. Just popular vote only.
Evil, I feel like you might be in the same boat as me. I was not offended by the top albums last year, but coming back to it, there's a little bit of like, there's no fucking way this was what we ended up voting on.
When I looked at the 3 albums, my first reaction is like, how the fuck did he pick these 3 albums? Why are they on here? And then it took me a while, and I'm like, oh, those were the top 3.
We did that.
What?
So what we were trying to do last year, we were going to try to bring in a fourth person to help us vote. We brought in the awesome Carrie Kirkland last year. We were going to do this every year. We're going to bring in like a different person to help us vote. Maybe we can't do that. And it has nothing to do with what Carrie's votes were. It was all four of us combined. I think some of us were trying to keep certain albums from getting up top. So I know that one album on here unintentionally ended up having it in the top 3. We're going to get to this. The moral of the story that you guys are hearing is that I don't really think this is our real best 3. Also, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, whichever one wants to start with me. Turns out, looking back, 2023, not a good year for music. Like, I'm looking at the whole list, and I'm like, my favorites were my favorites, but I don't see anything crazy impressive.
I really like my list. I mean, but
You would. I think within each of our lists, there are a couple really good ones. I don't think there's any. I think there are very few very good albums. I think there's a lot of good and okay albums that happened last year.
Yes. This was my thought process. Is every year I try to think of what's the album that 10 years from now that year is going to be remembered for. And besides the very obvious super pop ones that you say, well, they were just so famous.
Right.
I don't really I don't really see one. Maybe one like for me personally, but not worldwide. So
there's one on these lists that's going to be remembered.
I'm excited to see if we all think, because I think there's one too that should be remembered.
Oh, I think there's a handful that should be remembered. I think there's one that's going to be remembered, and that's it.
We're really talking it up, so all you listeners, be ready. But hey, that's half the fun, right? I personally see a lot of good in all 3 of the albums we're about to talk about. So I do think that I'm going to be defending all 3 if they need to be defended. We'll see. Before we get to that, we got to get to the most important part of the night. What are we drinking? Rachel Polio.
Yes, sir.
What you got?
I've been real boring lately, and again, I didn't have time to liquor store it up, and so I have
soda and a Malibu.
I hate orange soda so much.
What's the stuff you've been drinking? It's from the soda store, as you call it.
Oh, the Orange Rain. That stuff is so good. Yes, that's true. I did have that in Malibu like a week or 2 ago.
So what's the difference between Orange Rain and orange soda?
It's not as well. Orange Rain, it's a energy drink. Instead of like, when I think orange soda, I think Sunkist, like really, really saccharine and sweet. And this stuff is not quite as sugary, I guess, because there's not sugar. It's just like zero sugary stuff.
Guys, I found the holiday thing that's going to make me fat this year at Trader Joe's today that I didn't know existed.
What is it?
And now I'm going to have to eat at least a bag a week. Did you know there's stuffing flavored kettle chips at Trader Joe's?
Ooh.
They are.
I bet those are good.
Oh my God. They are like the greatest thing I've ever tasted, and I'm in trouble.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
Rachel's not a stuffing fan.
Have you seen the stuffing pizza? There's like a pizza that has like turkey and cranberries and stuffing on top of it.
Oh, I mean,
it's like a DiGiorno sort of thing.
No.
Good one.
Rachel, what are you drinking?
I just told you. It's a Coke and Buffalo Trace.
Oh.
You never listen when I talk.
You said...
You wrap your words in so many other words.
So many words. Women just talk so much.
I know.
Just answer the question.
It's exhausting.
Not for long.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, November's here. Not for long. Rachel didn't think that was funny.
Yikes.
Evil... You know what? I'm going to go next. No, Evil, you go. I think I might win today, but by default. Evil, what do you have?
It's autumn. And apples are in season.
Oh shit, you win.
So I've got a Jack Rose in a mason jar, double batch because I have needs.
It's gonna be a long day.
It's good.
It is going to be a long
I like
day.
it. Yeah.
What is it?
What do you...
So Jack Rose is the apple brandy, citrus, and grenadine. Mine is, if I were to make a single, it's 1.5 ounces Laird's apple bottled in bond, 1/2 ounce of Cedar Creek, and like a barrel aged apple brandy, 3/4 of an ounce of grenadine, 3/4 of an ounce of half and half lemon lime juice.
So fancy.
That's a man.
And then
That sounds
some
amazing.
apple slices in there for funsies.
It looks pretty too.
Okay, well, Evil definitely won, but I at least am on theme because our number one album last year, no spoilers, and I just, everything Dave Grohl does, I want to be exactly like him.
Oh, jeez. Do you
Especially
though?
this year, if you know what I mean. So,
Yikes.
So I've got
Another VCV baby.
that ain't happening anymore. Jaeger
That's true.
and Coors Light. Yeah, no worries there. Dave Grohl, let me give you a little bit of advice. It's a 15-minute procedure. It is absolutely terrifying. It fucks with you mentally for a day, and then you don't have to worry about it. Still got to watch out for herpes, though, Dave. Come on. We've got a lot to cover. 3 albums. All these.
I bet he's had worse.
All these Foo
He's had
Fighter
herpes.
lovers are.
He's fine.
When he was like in LA and he's like, I had to go back home to, where is he from?
Virginia? I want to say
I
Virginia.
was going to say
In the
Virginia.
South. Yeah. He was basically alluding to he was having sex with so many girls that his business was going to fall off. He's like, I had to go home and like get my life straight again.
Oh, jeez.
How'd that turn out? Yeah. Oops.
He's not figured it out yet.
Dude, he's a rock star.
The road is fucking hard. The road is fucking tough. Just ask Jack Black. We're going to take a break and we're going to talk about 2023. In it to win it. So, one of the things we do on this episode before we get into our 3 best voted albums of last year is we look back at our top 5 favorites and we review each other's. We pick one album from one of the other people's lists and we give it a review. I probably didn't get to dive into some of the albums on Evil's favorite list as much as I wanted to. So this is a chance for me to say, hey, Evil, you were right. That's a fucking killer album. Or, hey, Evil, maybe don't put that on your favorite. Maybe change that because it's dumb. We will start with Rachel's. Rachel, what were your top 5 favorite albums of last year?
Top 5, 5 to 1. Number 5, the album Boy Genius.
Foreshadow.
Number 4, Guts, Olivia Rodrigo. Number 3, Sick Boy by Ren. Number 2, Weather Vanes. Oh, shit. Never mind. Number 2, Weather Vanes by Jason Isbell.
She does
and number
not
1,
like her number 2 pick. Okay.
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
I may have fucked something up.
Did you review your own album?
I did. I didn't even look at my own.
Guys, this is what it's like to work with a Rachel Polio. So what was really funny is I was going to ask, so Evil, did you pick something off of Rachel's list? But I guess we'll go to Rachel first because she picked something off this list. Rachel, what do you
I picked something off her list. It was also on your list.
The second favorite album of yours from last year.
And your third favorite.
And my least favorite.
Probably, yeah.
Your least favorite?
Oh, he hated that album, yes.
Yeah, I did.
I fucking love that album. Here's the thing. Okay, so.
No, wait, here's my question. Evil, what did you hate more, Zach Bryan or Jason Isbell?
Jason Isbell.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think he's more. Here's why. I think that he is capable of writing way better shit.
I gotcha.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, to be fair, I did start off and I was like, I'm going to listen to Autumn and I'm going to like it. And then I started listening to it and I was like, I'm not going to be nice. And I went down the list and I saw Jason Isbell and just reviewed that.
We'll talk.
Without looking at my own list.
Give us your third review on Weather Vanes by Jason Isbell.
Show your face. This is the 9th album released through Southeastern Records by Jason Isbell on the 9th of June, 2023. This won a Grammy for Best Americana Album. This was self-produced, which I did not know until, or I forgot until now. And as far as sonically, this has a lot of really rich guitar sounds. It has layered acoustic with electric, which gives it this texture that where the instruments mirror the vocals, and the vocal performance is just emotional and very, it's so good. It's so passionate. I have a quote. Isbell's production chooses to emphasize performance as much as songwriting, a decision that shines a light on 400 Unit, his band's chemistry. And this is part of what makes the songs and the album so powerful, I think, is that chemistry between him and his band, of not putting any super high importance on one or the other.
Yeah.
This interesting thing with his storytelling in the album, he talks about super personal instances in his life, but somehow still makes the song relatable. It just feels like you're kind of reading a diary, but a diary of like one of your friends, where you're like, yeah, that could happen to me, or that has happened to me, or I can totally understand what he's talking about.
To me, it's very 60s songwriting, like a Simon and Garfunkel-y, Queen of Oklahoma. He's, even though you've never been a drug addict who's had to steal copper and blah, 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 blah,
you don't know me.
He puts you in it, kind of like novella type songwriting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a book of short stories where everyone can stand on their own, because all of the songs are very good on their own, but put together, it all makes sense too. For me, there's not really a throwaway. It's all very thoughtful the way it was put together.
He also has one of my favorite guitar tones in the industry right now. The tones that he gets in his songs are fucking crazy. Evil still hates it. Well, you probably didn't listen.
Oh.
You probably haven't listened to it since last year.
No. In fact, listening to you guys talk about it, it's like in Peanuts when the adults are talking. Wah, 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 wah. I just like, that's,
Ouch.
which is, yeah.
Rachel, that's a great review of your own album. Evil.
Thank you. I loved it.
Evil, did you pick an album off of Rachel's list?
Yeah, it's behind me.
Oh, Guts.
Yeah, Guts.
Oh.
I cheated because besides having a puppy, I have basically a new job at work. I cheated and picked albums from each of your lists, and I'm like, I just want to listen to those again. And so
That's fine.
I've listened to it since. It's like the album that I have behind me, for listeners, I have actually the album behind me in my office. It's Eve's. It's my 12-year-old that lives with me. She's into Olivia Rodrigo. So it's not perfect, of course. Does she steal songs? Yes. Is it derivative in ways? Of course. But it's fucking fun. And
yeah,
as I was listening to it, it's super catchy. There are songs on it that I am like, meh. But there's also tracks that I really, really dig. Rock and roll needs inroads into the youth right now to survive way more than the youth needs rock and roll. So anything that will like push the kids these days towards listening to more rock music, I am for. They're so like just inundated with music product that anything that expands their palette to open them up to like exploring other music, because they're not going to dive in and listen to the fucking really good old stuff that we grew up with without like a hook to get them, to pull them in.
Yeah, without Billie Eilish saying that Nevermind really helped me. Yeah. I wasn't that sounded like a dick thing. I wasn't being a dick. Like,
no, it's the fact that it was so long ago and that was our music. That's what just like, it just hurts a little bit.
Well, I mean,
this kid is like, oh, the classics. Never mind.
The golden oldies.
Seriously, if you think about it, just in like timeline, us listening to the 50s, which sounded like our grandparents' music, is in a lot of ways what hair metal would be to these kids, just in time frame, right?
Or like
oh my God,
Depeche Modes and The Cure and shit like that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus.
So, and in our youth, when like big band swing stuff kind of was like touring alongside punk acts on Warped Tour.
I thought we as a society agreed to forget that ever happened.
But I mean, it was like a kitschy inroad into like 50s music in a way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Suddenly high school kids were listening to like fucking Benny Goodman and shit like that.
My point is I am for anything that is rock oriented, put out by an artist that's actually relevant and the kids will listen to, because maybe that'll get them listening to stuff that I want to sustain in the cultural lexicon, which is rock metal. And I like it. It's not like I've not listened to it since we did episodes last year. It's played in my house because people listen to it here. And also when I made that connection, like, hey, this is a way for me to kind of like pat the back of any modern young artist who's doing something rock oriented.
Evil, as someone with a daughter in-house who Olivia Rodrigo is a part of, what's the bigger album for Olivia? Is it Guts or is it Sour?
Probably Guts, just because it's newer.
Because that's the thing. If I were to say, what is 2023 going to be remembered for? If it wasn't for Sour, I'd say Guts. Not by me, but by, in
Just
20
in general.
years.
Yeah.
Evil, it sounds like not only did you cheat, but you also made more work for yourself because you also reviewed something
Idiot.
on my list. What did you review?
I'm notorious for not reading the assignment. I just...
He even texted us and was like, don't forget, you have to review one album from somebody else.
Yeah, from each of you. You're both somebody else.
One, oh my God.
That's one from you, one from
Rachel,
you.
I don't
tired.
know if you're
You're
the
very
one
tired.
that's supposed to be bashing the rule following.
To be fair, I did one off somebody else's list.
It's
Just
true.
happened to be
That's
on mine as
true.
well.
What did you pick, Evil?
So, as with the Olivia Rodrigo album, I just wanted to listen to this again. Let me walk that back. I just wanted to turn it on because I have been listening to it for the last year. Well, since we found it last year. Summer, maybe, is when we all found this and talked about it. Was it a quick fire? It's 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex.
I think it was one of our first.
Yeah.
And we were all like, what is this? This is wild and crazy. And since I already did a review, I think it's a great album. I think it's amazing and gives me a chance to talk about one of my other favorite albums from last year, which is Wall Socket by Underscores. Because apparently I am a, in quotes, glitch pop fan.
Glitch pop.
And yeah.
Yeah, you banged the drum pretty hard for that one last year.
Still, that album has grown on me even further. But, I don't want to... 10,000 Gex is super fun. And it was amazing. It was nice just to turn it on and listen to it. And
with Guts, you talked about music. It's going to sound cliche, but gives you hope for the next generation of people. Because 10,000 Gex is pulling from fucking everything you can think of. It's pulling from Queenish type stuff, and it's pulling from early 90s grunge, and it's pulling from rap, and to me, that's the sort of inventive shit that kids with access to so many different genres should be doing, whatever.
100%. I'll go even further. Like I still fully endorse and mean everything I said about the Olivia Rodrigo album. It is derivative though. It just sounds like some other stuff. It's not doing anything new.
Sure.
This is something completely new.
Absolutely.
For any kind of music, whether it's rock, metal, rap, whatever, to survive long term, you need creative minds to take what has come before and then do something new with it. And this is definitely that.
Now would be the perfect time to talk about how, if I were to say which album I think should represent the year looking back in 20 years, to me, that album is 10,000 Gex. I feel like that album is very unique. It was my number one pick for best album of the year. Unfortunately, it was Rachel and somebody else's very last vote, so it did not end up on our list.
David, why are we rehashing this?
It's fun. So we got Evil cheating, reviewing Guts. We've got Rachel unintentionally cheating, reviewing her own album. And guess what? I cheated too. Because...
Fabulous.
Yes, so nobody needs to feel bad.
I love this.
I chose an album that I already knew well, but I don't care because it wasn't on my favorites and it needs to be talked about because of how much I love it. It's off of Evil's favorites, and it's Endling by Kvelertak. Here's what I will say to all of you out there. We did a review on this on our one of our quick fires last year. We talked about how we really liked it. I don't think we touched on it enough because you can't touch on it enough. It came out in September of last year. That's what she said. It came out to solid reviews, which I don't really count because all the reviews are metal, and metal, it's cheating. When a metal album comes out, it's a bunch of metal things that review it. They give it either a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. Greatest album ever. That's how it is. I don't care. I know it's cheating. We talked about it before. This band, particularly for me, in this album is so goddamn good that people need to pay attention to it. They are I'm not kidding. They are one of the true, real rock bands right now. They are not just playing fucking metal. They are playing blues. They're a Norwegian band that has southern shit. You hear, I did a little bit of studying on them, and it seems like, Evil, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but it seems like they came onto the scene like 15 years ago and like kicked the scene in the fucking teeth. People were like, what the shit is this group? Their next album or 2 albums came out and they kind of evolved, and the metal idiots hated it. Black metal people were like, what the fuck is this? For a while, it sounded like they kind of bowed to that. They were like, oh shit, we got to go back to what we were originally doing. They ended up I don't know if they let go of their singer and drummer, if their singer and drummer quit.
The singer, I know he moved on. He wanted to do other projects or something, and then the drummer, I don't know what the circumstances were there.
Well, when they did leave, the last 2 albums at least, they really got rid of a lot of the black metal-y stuff and really, really started hanging on to this. It almost starts to sound punk.
Yeah. Oh,
and
very.
In this album specifically, they sound like Rush or Queen, or they have songs with like, there's a song in here with a banjo in it. It still sounds like Norwegian metal. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Their song structure is amazing. They have songs, and this is the fun part where I get to say these song names. They have songs like Skagagner and Motzels. Very anthemic. It's like Metal Queen. They have songs like Skart September, which is, like I said, it's like folk, but it's flat out rock. And it's like half Cheap Trick, but it's also Sex Pistols. And then, of course, there's the first song on the album,
which is called
Kroter Vek te Helvet, which
Norwegians are like screaming right now. If any are listening,
we just lost our Norwegian crowd.
Scream at me all you want, but that was my favorite song of the year last year. It's a fucking masterpiece. Are they metal? Are they blues? Are they 80s? They're everything.
Yeah.
And if you are a music fan, if you appreciate guitar rock, you need to fucking listen to this album, Handling by Kvelertek.
I really dig the album. I like the band. I'm a big fan of
Where does that album sit in their discography for you?
That's a very good question. Like their first 2, I was blown away by. So those are always, it's hard to replicate those experiences. I don't think I'll ever put it above those, even though it might be a better album.
Kvelertek, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, everybody, I'm going to give the top 10 best list of last year, and then we're going to talk about the top 3 after a quick break. Number 10, we already aired the grievances. It is 100 Gex's 10,000 Gex. Barely made the list, which is just silly. Number 9, Cracker Island by the Gorillaz. I've gone back to that a couple times. I like it. Number 8, Zach Bryan's Self-Titled. Woo! Evil and I were not a fan. The 2 other voters were, so it ended up at number 8. Number 7, thanks to a couple high votes from Evil and I, the smart ones, The Wretched, The Ruinous by Unearth. Friends of the pod, amazing men. Evil's wearing the shirt.
Dude, that is my favorite album. It's like my all-time favorite album right now.
Like ever.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry about it. Women and Children First. I mean, I love Van Halen too, and I still love Women and Children First. But Unearth they're my favorite living band.
Number 6, Queens of the Stone Age, In Times New Roman. I haven't gotten back to that. I need to go back to that. Number 5 was Butcher Brown's Solar Music, which was more of a guest voter pick. I really, really loved that album. I thought it was great.
Yep, I think it's good.
So that's probably why it got all the way up to number 5. Number 4, which did get bumped down because it was the last vote for one person. I have no idea who that would be. It is Weather Vanes by Jason Isbell. Very, very high rank for 2 people. Very low for 1. And then we have our top 3, which we're about to talk about. We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about our top 3. We are back. Boy Genius, the record.
Yes.
Rachel, it was on your top 5 favorite albums of 2023.
It was.
Why don't you take it away?
Real excited for this one to come out. This was released on the 31st of March of last year, 2023, on Interscope Records. Boy Genius is a supergroup that consists of Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and Lucy Dacus.
The one nobody knows.
Never mind.
Sorry.
Guest writers were Paul Simon, which I didn't know about.
I did not know that until this second.
And Hojin Yu and Leonard Cohen on the song Leonard Cohen. Fun facts. Everyone loved this album. It was...
Everybody but Evil.
James. Everyone loved this album. Peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Was nominated for 7 Grammys. It won 4, I believe. Best Alternative Album, Best Rock Song, Best Rock Performance. Okay, maybe it won 3. It won 3 Grammys for a brand new group on a debut album.
Everything you need to know about the Grammys when that's winning the Best Rock. I mean, you can't... Right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Best rock song as well. It's a good song.
Jesus
Not Strong Enough
Christ.
is a great song, but not rock. When you think of supergroups, you think a lot of grabbing the best lead singer, the best drummer, the best guitarist, and shoving them into a group together. And sometimes it's just ego and it doesn't work. But these 3 girls blend so well together.
Agreed.
Nobody stands out.
That's for sure.
You're such an asshole. Fuck off. Anyway, like I said, these girls were on the cover of Rolling Stone a couple months before this album came out. I got really excited about this album, and it definitely proved to be worth all the hype for me.
I had no idea that Paul Simon helped them write Cool About It, which makes sense because that whenever that song comes on, I think
Paul
of, like,
Simon vibes.
It's the Boxer.
Yeah.
Like the guitar and their tone, it's the Boxer. Mm-hmm. Not as good as the Boxer. No offense to them. That's one of the greatest songs ever written, but I'm in your camp for this. It's not something that I'm going to go back to, and I don't want to, but it's a great album. Mm-hmm. I think that they sound amazing together. There's too much ballad stuff for me. And I'm just
That's fair.
My biggest take on this album is I bet this group is amazing to see live. Mm-hmm. I bet it's fucking gorgeous sounding.
Yeah.
Evil, how much did you even listen to it again?
Yeah. I don't hate it. Now, here's the thing is I don't hate it. I think it's good. It is well done music. It's like Ghost of the Lilith Fair.
You hate women so much.
Visited me one night. No, it's fine. I mean, they're very talented. It's just they're neither boys nor genius. It's like girl okayness is what it is. And that's fine.
That's fair.
But I don't like greatly dislike it.
Okay.
I think where I am in that same camp is coming back to this album to study for this. None of it stuck with me from last year.
No.
Not at all. Mm-mm. Like, of course, the strong enough to be your man, that line in my head, because I heard it everywhere. But none of this music stuck with me whatsoever. How can this album be that fucking good when I was listening to it driving home from my daughter's soccer game today, and it's just like, it's really beautiful, but it's like there's something about it that I don't know. 3rd best album of the year, but it's once again, it's a weak fucking year to me. That's my big takeaway is this year 2023 was not great. Compliments, so it doesn't sound like it's just being shit on.
I don't feel like you're shitting on it.
And I'm not. I'm honestly not. No.
Okay. Nobody's calling it bad. You're calling it unmemorable.
It's fine for people to make music that's not for me and for it to be pretty good music.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This to me, and this might sound like I'm insulting saying they're ripping off or their influences. I'm not. I think it sounds like women that listened to a lot of Elliott Smith and made it, but the harmonies, these girls' harmonies, that's something that Elliott Smith music didn't have. Not that it was missing it just didn't have it. That's what makes this so different. You were right. They blend together fucking amazingly. Mm-hmm. That's why I think they went with so many ballads, because it's so gorgeous, but it also means that a song like Satanist comes on, and you're like, here we go. Okay. No. We're starting to rock. And then it's, nope, they're done. They're done. They're tired. They're winded. I picture their concerts. I picture a lot of swaying with their eyes closed is what I picture. That's fair. Let's get to awards and categories. The demographic award. Who's this for besides not evil?
It's like I said earlier, it's Lilith Fair vibes, which it's not evil music.
Not evil music. So any listeners that have not turned this off, this is why they would have turned it off. Because I think that this album is for modern day album lovers, music nerds that listen to fucking music podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably really fucking dig this album. Hopefully that doesn't sound like an insult, because that is the opposite of an insult.
I'm not
love music nerds.
None of what is maybe coming across as criticism coming from me is not meant to be criticism. It's just like, I get it. Like, this is not music made for me. That's fine.
Yeah. Rachel, what's your demo?
Mine was similar to yours, David. I said indie music lovers. This is not music for the mainstream. This is for people who really appreciate the musicality of things and not just something that like slaps. They want to hear an artist do their art. With that in mind, Evil, it's not for him. It's not a mainstream something that a lot of people are going to like, and that's fine.
Like the Wretched and Ruinous.
Like the Wretched and the Ruinous.
John Paul Jones Award, right back to you, Rachel.
Next question. There's no, I would.
Oh, okay. I get it. You were being witty. Okay.
Yes.
I get John Paul Jones Award for me, and it's not, they need somebody to remind them that they rock. And I don't mean that half the albums need to be rock songs. I don't mean anything like that. One of the things I've always liked about Phoebe Bridgers specifically, because I love Phoebe Bridgers, is she always has very unique percussion style things in her music. And this album has nothing like that. Like, there's barely percussion in any of it. So maybe like a session drummer, like a Steve Gadd, to fade in and out of this album. That's it. Evil, what about you?
You could go two ways here. I could say it's instead of the John Paul Jones Awards, the Paul Simon Award.
I like it.
Which they already did. Or there's a band whose lead singer or one of their singers passed away, and they poached a singer from a band who wrote one of my favorite albums in the last 20 years.
You're talking about Crosby, Stills, and Nash?
Huh?
Crosby, Stills, and Nash, yes.
Yes. Meh. Let's make this a full-on supergroup. Let's take Susie and Emily from Dead Sarah, throw them in this mix, and see if they can actually make it rock.
Interesting.
Bring in Susie and Emily, take out Phoebe and Julian, bring in the Dead Sarah drummer.
Wow. So you want Dead Sarah, that's fine.
As a reminder, this is an award we only do for this episode. It's Who Dey, Still Got It, or Sold. Who Dey being I need to hear more before I decide if they're good or not. Still Got It, Know 'Em, Love 'Em, or Sold, my first experience with them, and now we'll listen to everything. Evil, none of the above, maybe? I don't care.
Let's say that.
That's fine.
The fourth option?
I don't.
It's kind of like in the middle for me. I said Who Dey. The thing, it's a super group, so I know I love Phoebe. I like Julian. Also, Lucy, who is the other one, I imagine that she would be more rock. She's a fucking Matador label kid. I would be interested. If they kept coming out with stuff, I'd be interested to hearing how this group evolved. Rachel, what about you?
I really want you to edit this out, but every time you say the other one, I keep thinking the ugly one from Homestar Runner. That's what's going on in my head every time.
Can I edit what my John Paul? I want Trogdor to join the band.
Okay.
The Burninator.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, still got it. This is a superset of supergroups. I will continue to listen.
Fine wine or skunk beer, Rachel?
I said fine wine, and I said fine wine. When I think of this, I think of something that you can't really pinpoint the time when this was put out. Like if you heard it at any time, you could think this is like 60s folk. This could be early 2000s like indie music, but it's not. It came out in 2023. And so in that way, I think there's a lot going on there, and in that way, it's fine wine to me.
I like it. Evil?
What's the 2023/2024 version of a wine cooler?
White Claw?
That's what it is. Yeah, it's White Claw.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's more interesting than White Claw.
Aperol Spritz.
Okay.
A lot of Aperol
God
Spritz.
damn, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Perfect.
It's an Aperol Spritz. There you go. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Great minds, Evil. Great minds. I said neither. It is a dirty martini for me.
Okay.
I very rarely want one, but when I do, it's like the only thing I want. I'm very rarely ever going to want to listen to this album.
Sure.
But there's a mood where this is going to be like, you know what? It just needs to be boy genius right now.
That's fair.
I very rarely
never
drink a
gonna have
dirty
that
martini.
moment
Where's
in
the
my life.
bias?
If I ever say, listen, if I ever come to either of you and be like, I really feel like I need to listen to Boy Genius right now, be concerned for my mental health.
10 steps ahead of you on that one, man. Where's the bias? There's bias because I definitely want to like anything Phoebe Bridgers is in. That has died down a little bit the last couple of years because she is in fucking everything now. Like, I don't know what the hell happened 2 years ago, but so it was like the Jason Isbell thing where all of a sudden movies and albums and guest starring here and Jesus fucking Christ. So there was a little bit of bias of really wanting to like this, but I don't think it affected my ruling. Evil, what about you?
My bias is in my hormone level. Like my T level's too high for this. It's just straight across the board. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. You need to eat more stuffing flavored kettle chips so that testosterone will go down a little bit. Rachel, where's the bias?
I mean, for me, I expected a lot out of it because of Phoebe Bridgers and because of the talent that came into that. But I feel like it met expectations for me.
What's the worst song on it?
I said Revolution O. There were a couple songs that were a little slower or a little not as good. But I think that is probably maybe a throwaway.
Here's the thing about this album. Mm-hmm. I listened to it, I think 4 times getting ready for this. The first time I hated it. I didn't remember any of it. Mm-hmm. That was my thing. I was like, I don't even remember this.
Yeah.
So fuck this. Then I listened to it at work, not ignoring, but background, and I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Then I went back through to specifically pick a worse song, and I couldn't do it because they're all fucking good. So it's the weirdest thing. It's like an album that I don't really like that I would probably give like an 8 out of 10 to. So it was hard to pick a worse song, but I did say Revolution O. I just don't think it adds anything to the album.
I'm going to knock out this and the next one all together because I said the best song is Satanist because fucking metal. And the worst song is the rest of the album for me.
Wow.
There you
But
go.
no, I'm like, that's not like they're all terrible. It's just like, that's the one song that stuck out and the rest of them were like.
I mean, if they're all the same to you, then they're all the worst and that's fine.
Exactly that.
But you know what? It's not, the thing about Satanist though is it's not just because it rocks like the other ones don't, but it's also, not only is there great tone and great harmonies, but that's one of the only songs where there is actual structure, where there is actual build and decline. And so it's my best song too. I totally agree. Rachel, what about you?
Cool about it. I think revisiting
I like it a lot
this.
more now.
What's that?
I like it a lot more now that I know what I know about it.
Well, maybe that had a little bit of influence too. But I think, last year it was not strong enough. And I think part of me just wants it to not be not strong enough because it's the popular song and that's the only one that
Strong
people
enough
know.
to be your man anyway.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Also true.
That is our third best album of 2023, The Record by Boy Genius. Let's move on to number 2. This is the one that definitely most shocked me when I saw the rankings, because I'm telling you right now, I know how this is about to go. And I know that Rachel and Evil, they have to fucking hate this album. They have to. Maybe not Evil, but we'll get there. Slow Dive. Everything is All Right, their 2023 album. It is shoegaze.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Everything is
So good.
alive.
Everything is alive, but you wrote everything is all
Yeah.
right in our outline, and I'm like, that tracks.
It's not all
It's like
right
everything.
What did I
is
just say? Did I just say All
You
Right
did.
or Alive?
Yeah.
because you're reading.
All right.
Let's try it again.
Perfect. Why the fuck would we take that gold out?
All right.
It is 41 minutes long, and it is shoegaze. So if you do not like shoegaze, you will not like this album. I love it. I love it because it's really good shoegaze, and I like that. I'm a sucker for builds and slow, thought-provoking music. The first season we did this podcast, my favorite album of the year was Mogwai, in a shoegazy type album. This is a band that has had a pretty roller coaster style relationship with even being a band. They got picked up by Creation, so they were doing all these really big UK things a long time ago. But a long time ago, shoegaze, it had like 3 years where it was massive and then it disappeared off the fucking earth. People actually kind of actively hated it. So they went from the cool kids to this like desert of nothingness. Then they came back now that maybe the vinyl world, this sort of music kind of fits that a little more now that records are back. This album got prominently, surprisingly good reviews, found a big home in the uprising of the social media music, hey, check this album out sort of thing. To me, this is a very festival style band. These guys would be like a midday Coachella sort of band.
The very midday.
Like right at noon when everyone's hungry.
Like just the middest of day.
I just love meaningful sounding shoegaze. There's a seriousness of tone and a drive here that is very rare for this style of music. I'm very picky about it. It's like 2 inches away from Yola Tango, and I hate Yola Tango, and I love this. And that's just the way it is. Going back to this album, Rachel, which you basically said in the finale last year that the only reason you voted it high is because you didn't think anybody else was, and so you thought you were safe.
That sounds like me.
The pity
Do you
vote.
still feel similar about it?
100%. I really tried again on this one, but I was just so sleepy and bored out of my mind.
Shoegaze will never be for you, my friend.
No, it's not.
Yeah, there's a reason I spoke for a long time because I didn't think you guys were going to say shit.
It's-
Evil, what about you? You are prone to being okay with stuff like this at times.
Yeah, like if it's like a rainy day and you are like all about being in your feels and you just want
Sure.
something very low playing in the background, this would work. That's like, I mean, it's like music to go to sleep to if you want to be
It's very
slightly
specific.
Yes, if you want like slightly depressing dreams and you want to go to sleep, this will work. I was shocked at how old the band. I didn't really research them last
Right?
time.
Yeah.
I like looked at their hit. I'm like, what the fuck? They're ancient. Like they're
Well, this was their first album in, what was it, like 20 years or something
yeah,
like that?
Yeah.
25? Like
Yeah.
something insane. It's all right.
Number 2?
It's okay to not like it.
Number 2.
Hey, I'm not the only one that fucking voted.
That's why the system is broken.
the other 2 albums. I'm like, okay.
You were the one that fucking broke it.
I know. I know.
We live and we learn, right? We live and we learn.
Once again, I don't hate this. I don't hate it. But it's just like, it's so meh.
I think that was the thing. And we can, what our first album ended up being is that when I first read it, our list, I was like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck did this happen? But then when you look at the list and you look at all the albums that
everything
came out
else.
for the year, then you're like, you think about it for a while and you're like, actually, what the fuck else would it have been? We're all very different and we all hate shit that the other person loves, and
That's what makes it fun.
that's what makes it fun. Let's just go to awards and categories, because that's the thing about an album like this is I'm not going to break down the fucking songs. It's shoegaze. There are really, really great builds, and I can turn it on and love it. But I can also see where somebody would turn this on and be like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, why would I listen to this for any other reason than to fall asleep?
Yeah.
Like,
It's the lullaby music if you just want, like I said, to have some melancholic dreams.
I think you and I, Evil, are very similar in certain ways and very different in others. And one of the things that I think we differ in is that when I have a week where I'm just fucking like going insane, and then it gets to whatever, Saturday night or Friday night or whatever like that. For you, it seems like you would need to work out until you're dead for 45 minutes and then eat a fucking steak. And, like I need to sit in quiet and have a drink in the dark and have something like this on. It's like the exact opposite of what I would guess you would need after a week of like.
Yes, that's also what I would do any night of the week if I could. That's just
That's why they call him Kettlebell Jimmy.
Awards, and nobody calls them that. Awards and categories. The demographic award, Evil. What you got?
I have no idea who this is for. That statement comes from their hit, like looking at the band and learning about their history. I'm like, who the fuck is listening to this band for 40 years or whatever?
It's like who's eating at Arby's? It's the same thing.
So I never see anybody do it, but they're still open.
God.
So
I honestly have no idea. I don't know who this is for.
I said vinyl nerds and ambiance lovers.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Sure.
I
Is
know
that
the
a
vinyl
people
nerds
that-
is not
Yeah.
really anymore because now everybody's buying records again. Where there was one kind of specific style of people that were buying them, now it's rockers are smart in buying them. And now Evil's got a huge collection. We're trending upward, people. We're trending upward. Rachel, what's your demo award?
I said you, David Liston. And also people experimenting with Molly. I feel like this could be good music for that. Because it's not too crazy, but it gives you a little something to listen to.
No.
I've never done Molly. I have no idea.
You're mixing up Molly with ecstasy. Molly is like Coke ecstasy. Molly is like, you need the... Okay. That's Molly.
Well, maybe this would be better then for people.
Know your drugs, bro. John Paul Jones Award, Rachel.
If I could replace anyone, I said add some of the kids from San Fermin. And that's only because I had just listened to that album and I thought Ellis could really liven the place up a little bit, I think.
I said that it could use some more give a little, take away. But I love the shoegazy synth work. So somebody like a Evangelist, that might be too easy. Like Explosions in the Sky, bringing a little more bombasticness to this might add something. But then it'd be a different band. I don't know. It's Evil. What about you?
I don't know if this is a John Paul Jones answer. Listening to this made me just want to listen to Tycho because I like Tycho.
Oh, I like it.
And I don't even know if they're similar music, but I'm like, I would just rather be listening to Tycho than this.
I can see where that band would put you in the same mental space that you're thinking you want to be.
Yeah. I used to go to sleep to Tycho a lot. I would rather sleep to something that's a little more upbeat and happy.
I hope none of these bands listen to this fucking episode.
Well, listen, man.
Is what it is.
I hope, yeah, whatever.
Good thing we're not famous.
Who Day, Still Got It, or Sold. This one's interesting. We talked about it because it's like the return of a mid-level band. It's like a return of a band that was popular for 7 months, fucking decades ago. So I guess it's like a Who Day with a bit of Sold in there for me. Evil, what about you?
Yeah, Who Day. I like
don't care.
Who Day 4.
We need Don't Care.
Yeah.
For Rachel, what about you?
Just copy paste Evil's answer.
Fine Wine or Skunk Beer, Rachel?
I said this is going to age fine, honestly.
It's a 2018 Willamette Valley.
However, having married the gentleman that I married, I hear a lot of this music all the time. This genre. And so
Synthwave.
Yeah, and so I feel like because it's been going on for a while, it's harder to place and people will like it forever. The people that like it are going to like it forever. And the people that don't like it are just not going to like it. And that's fine.
It's similar to my answer from the last one, but I said that it's vodka. It's there. I know what it is. It's not going to add or take away anything. It's the Kettle One sitting there when I need it. Where's the bias? I just have bias towards shoegaze. I feel that I have to carry the flag for it because I know that the other people in the pod will not. Evil, what about you?
Well, I didn't get assigned a drink to it yet.
Oh, fuck, my bad.
Which is a sparkling rosé that someone opened and left in the fridge for a couple of weeks. So it's... but the bias... I don't know. I never look at my shoes, so...
Zing. Oh, zing. That's the good dad joke.
I said the bias is that you like it, and so it makes me want to hate it.
That's very fair. What's the worst song on the album, Rachel?
I said Prayer Remembered. I didn't like... this is similar to Jimmy and Boy Genius. This music is just not for me. I very much understand that this is good music that people like. Prayer Reminded for me was the most boring. I could get a massage to this song. So that's kind of where I went with that one.
Evil?
I don't know what the worst one is because I didn't listen to much of it. So it's
fair.
It's in
okay,
limbo.
Sven.
I'm just saying, I skimmed. I'm like, no, I can't.
I said Andalusia Plays. That's too much even for me. And honestly, the male singer's voice on this band doesn't really do it for me. I just...
There's singers on this?
It's like a...
Every once in a while.
Never got there. Yeah.
You know those really, really bad early 90s movies? Like, it sounds like a song from a bad 90s sex scene. That's what it sounds like. Or
sure.
like an awesome scene, I guess.
Bad 90s sex scene would be a good band name.
Funny, Evil. Best song for me is... Or no, Rachel, sorry. Best song for me is Prayer Remembered.
That's fine.
It Very buildy, Mogwai. I like it. Rachel, what's the best song on the album?
He's sleepy. I said Kisses. I would like to, again, back on the Sand for Maine thing. Alan, like, you don't like the guy's voice on this album. I think he could spice it up a little bit. I think his voice would go good. That's probably my favorite.
You were listening to too much Sand for Me.
I know,
You were
I
doing
was.
This review. Evil. What about you?
The Slab, and not just because it was the last song, but it is slightly
'Cause
upbeat, and they had a really cool like visualizer on Spotify that was a slab. So I'm like, that's clever.
Oh, what?
Guys, we're up to number 1, our best album
We're
of
so close.
2023. I will take a shot to it as Evil lets us know what it was.
So I'm going to use the power of AI to fill us in on this album.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
But here we
I hope-
are is the 11th studio album by the American rock band Foo Fighters, released on June 2nd, 2023. The album is a response to the band's recent losses, including the death of drummer Taylor Hawkins in 2022 and the death of Dave Grohl's mother, Virginia, also in 2022. The album is a testament to the healing powers of music, friendship, and family. Here are some things to know about But Here We Are. The album was recorded between 2022 and 2023 at 606 West in Los Angeles. Dave Grohl performed and recorded all of the drum tracks on the album. Singles.
Yeah.
The singles Rescued and Under You were released before the album, and Show Me How and The Teacher were released as promotional singles. Reviews. Some say the album
They
is
released Teacher as a single?
Yeah,
It's fucking 10 minutes long.
I know. But it's about
Okay,
his mom.
anyway.
So, I mean, that's a special song for him. Spoiler alert, it's also my least favorite. Reviews. Some say the album is formidable, as a formidable rock record that's catchy and vibrant. Others
Nobody
say
has
it's
ever said
crowd
that.
pleasing, but feels like a fitting memorial. So,
Good job, Evil.
yeah. I cheated a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay. Do you want my reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a memorial album, right? Mm-hmm. I've used this line before on other albums. It is like a Foo Fighters greatest hits albums of songs I've never heard before. It's good.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
has stuff that I'm just like, this is Foo Fighters. This is these are great tracks. Other than the opening track, I don't remember any of them. They don't stick to the ribs and I think part of that is going back to what we were talked about with Kvelertak. There's a huge difference between listening to a Foo Fighters album in 2023 and me listening to The Color and the Shape when it came out.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think, honestly, that's really a big piece of why I ephemeral for me. The other thing is, as a memorial album, there are like 2 memorial albums that stick out to me, and then everything else. Those 2 are Back in Black and Injustice for All. After those 2 albums, in terms of like, this is the album that we recorded after we lost a member of the band. I mean, come on, you just can't measure up to those.
So what I want to say after that, before we keep getting into it, is I know that there are people that listen to this pod that are Foo Fighter heads that fucking love the Foo Fighters, because the Foo Fighters are. That's the thing is, don't love whatever the Foo Fighters for the last 27, 30 years, whatever. If you just sit down and you listen to certain songs and you listen to Dave Grohl doing his fucking screams and his growls and their fucking riffs and the drums, they're one of the remaining rock bands that fucking rocks. Completely admitting that. And to me, I think this album I don't think that it just helped the Foo Fighters. I think it helped their diehard fans too.
Yes.
I don't really understand it, but that doesn't mean that I don't empathize with seeing, like, on social media, people are listening to this album and they're like, I bawled my head off the whole first listen and blah, blah, and I shouldn't say blah, 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 blah after that. That's not
nice.
That's not very nice. But, there are people that are fucking invested in a band like this. And so I can see where it helped the fans a lot too. My first line is a lot of what you said, Evil. This album is very fucking Foo Fighters.
Oh my God.
It's very Foo Fighters. Which means that you've heard it all before.
Yep.
You have a little bit of Wasting Light and a little bit of Concrete and Gold and a little bit of Color in the Shape, and it's a tiny bit of In Your Honor, and there you have it. There's your album. There's a lot of very generic rock on here. Under You, Rescued, those are as generic of rock songs. You've heard those rock songs 700 times from the successful rock bands of the world. That's kind of my positive with the negative. I have plenty more to say, but Rachel, going back to this, what did you think?
So I think that with any band, when somebody leaves or passes away, you have this point of recalibration, but they really didn't take a beat. They just pushed through and kept going. Dave's like, I'll play the drums. We'll get this done. We'll make this. And I feel like he just went with what was very safe. This is Foo Fighters product. There's not a lot that really stands out or that's new or different. It's just all very okay.
He's very, to me, he seems very much like the type of person that would be what he would have to do to get through a death like Taylor Hawkins. It's not a, hey, I'm going to play drums so we can get through this. It's a, I can't deal with this shit. I am going to just head first dive into this album and completely consume myself with that. You know, everybody deals with shit.
Sure.
That's how I would deal with something like that.
And I very much understand that. Maybe in this case, you throw away the first pancake and then keep going. Like,
what song's the first pancake?
Oh my God.
Everything but the first song on the album.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
nobody's gonna fucking listen to this podcast.
Sorry, no. The first pancake is fine. It's just not the best pancake.
It's a good rock album.
It is.
I was okay with it being our number one album of last year.
Me too.
When we like ran the numbers with the whole weird voting system, and I'm agree we should get rid. We don't need an electoral college. We need like a Votech college instead of an electoral college because it's more useful. I was fine with it, and I'm giving a very unfair
you guys keep
comparison.
Saying electoral college like we used anything that was any sort of electoral college.
Yeah,
My votes didn't count more than anybody else's, motherfucker.
That's what you said.
Go ahead.
You live in Washington. Your votes count more than ours.
Fucking barely.
I think there's a big difference when a band member passes when you're in your 20s and you're at the height of your creativity and youth and vigor, and then when it happens when you're in your 50s towards the end of your career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comparing it against And Justice for All or Back in Black is not fair. It's not a fair comparison. It's still the comparison. That is still
the big difference, and this is probably how I'd feel if I was him, but the big difference there when you're that old is I bet there is a part of Dave Grohl that would feel responsible.
Yeah.
That would feel like if I wouldn't have pushed this fucking dude to tour with my band for 20 years, this would not have happened. Mm-hmm. I would think that there'd be a little bit of that. Look, we've been like kind of negging on this. I love the sound that they get on their songs like Show Me How, where they get this kind of female upper range vocal thing. They do it on Concrete and Wasting Light too. Like the song Dirty Water on Wasting Light, they do that sort of thing. It's this calmer, high and low. I fucking love it so much. I don't know. This is a good fucking rock album.
It is.
Songs like Hearing Voices, The Teacher, we can talk about, But Here We Are. Do you guys ever listen to a song and think that the lyrics are a certain thing and think that that's amazing, and then you read them and you're like, oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I thought that he was saying, I gave you my heart, but here we are, slave to our art, but here we are. And I was like, that's one of the greatest fucking lines I've ever heard. Come to find out, that's not what he says. Maybe change the lyrics. I'm just gonna say, because that's
now
a
he definitely
fantastic.
listens to this.
Sure. No, you know he does. Attention. I don't know.
You said Ted Hawkins.
That's
who the fuck is Ted Hawkins?
I'm trying to make it who's Ted Hawkins? Listen to the fucking podcast, Rachel. Let's go to awards and categories.
I don't have time, David.
The demographic award. Evil, who's this for?
It's for Foo Fighters fans. I mean, clearly.
Yes.
Like, if you're a Foo Fighter, if you are a diehard, Foo Fighters are your favorite band, you're going to love this album because it's like they give you what they have done at a high level too. It's not like phoned in. It's like really good Foo Fighters that you've probably heard something very similar like it before.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's Foo Fighters fans. And it was for them too. And I completely agree with Evil, what he said. And I'm going to go one step further. I would think if you're a diehard Foo Fighters fan, that this automatically becomes one of your 3 favorite albums, because you hear a song like But Here We Are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. They've written songs like that before.
It's more meaningful.
But you hear Dave Grohl screaming his fucking life out.
Yeah.
Like you could hear he's like crying while he's screaming. How does that not how do you not feel that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Well, Foo Fighters, Rachel.
Fighters.
David, I agree. I said nostalgic millennials. I don't think they got any new fans by putting this out. But ultimately, this was for Dave Grohl. Like, this was for him to mourn and to get better.
John Paul Jones Award. Right back to you, Rach.
I said to bring in Josh and put him on the drums. I love Dave Grohl's drumming. But I feel like
bring in Josh
Freese.
Oh, the new drummer,
the current drummer. Yeah.
Who's a machine? That guy's one of the best drummers on the planet.
He is. Yeah. Very good. I would have brought him in a little earlier.
Yeah, but there's something very poetic about Grohl doing the drums on this album to me.
That's true. There is. And it's a good place to take your anger out.
This is my cheap take, and I'm saying nothing. I don't think you can change anything or anyone on this. And even if there was, maybe it's not our place to say, because we're not the massive Foo Fighter people. I mean, we can say whatever we want. It's our fucking podcast. Evil.
I mean, the right answer is, if I could replace or add any musician to the band, it would be to have Taylor Hawkins still alive and in the band playing this album.
God damn it. Yes, that's the right answer. What a setup. What a fucking setup that everybody missed. Who Dey, Still Got It, or Sold? I don't know. I need to hear some more from these guys before I make a decision.
The jury is still out.
Yeah, they still got it. It's the fucking Foo Fighters, man. They shred. Yeah. They fucking rock. They're all so goddamn good at what they do. And you know what hit me when I was listening to this on the way to the soccer game today? I take for granted how amazing Dave Grohl is vocally. His decisions of sing, now I'm going to scream, and when I scream, it's going to be a fucking like, he's fucking amazing. He really is. Rachel?
David? I said Still Got It, because obviously not great pizza is still pizza. My opinion of Foo Fighters did not change due to this album.
Everybody loves pizza. Fine wine or skunk beer, Rach?
Fine wine. No, just kidding. Skunk beer. This sounds exactly like everything that came out in the 90s. And so it is very dated. There's, like we've talked about, there's a handful of songs that are good on this, but I think for the most part, it's not their best work.
Jeez Louise. Evil, what about you?
It's a good vintage because of all the things Rachel said, but in a positive way.
Fair.
Take everything Rachel said
and put a good spin
on it. Make it positive. And here we are.
No, so here's a crazy thought. Because we did a bunch of Nirvana episodes and talked about Kurt a lot. If things had not gone down the way they did with Kurt's death, what would Nirvana have become? Would they have like veered in a direction where it like tarnished their legacy? That's a potential. The other thing that would have never happened is Foo Fighters.
Well, I am of the thought that Nirvana was already done. If Kurt hadn't killed himself, they were breaking up within that month. And I honestly think that Dave Grohl probably already had half of the fucking Foo Fighters demo done. That's just what I think. But that also ruins the hypothetical question that you're...
The point that I'm getting at is like, we got both. We got Nirvana. We got Foo Fighters. Maybe the best rock band in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Apologies to Queens of the Stone Age. Maybe. How do you attribute that to a drink? To like what? Like... It is what it is. It's just do it. It's a staple. It's like, it's whiskey. It's aged whiskey. Yeah. It is what it is. It's a good thing.
Now I'm going to ruin it, and I'm going to say I agree with Rachel, and it's skunk beer. And that's just because I go, all that was poignant. You should have gone last, but you didn't. And it's skunk beer. Only because I remember last year being bewildered by the best of list and then thinking about it and being like, you know what? I get it. And I have no problem with Foo Fighters being first. I forgot about the album. Came back to it when I had to study for this. I'm like, yeah, it's a good album. But that is not a fucking best of the year album then. If you were able to forget about it, it's not it.
Yeah.
Where's the bias? I will look, Dave's been in the news for all the wrong reasons. I will always root for Dave and the gang. Obviously, there's a couple things that if they came out, sure, maybe I'd have to melt my Foo Fighters records. But until that day, I will root for them. Like Evil said, maybe the best rock band of the last 25 years. Consistent and not just like out of respect, because they fucking shred. That's the bias, is they deserve the recognition. Rach?
Yeah. We all love the Foo Fighters. Everybody does. They're amazing. Yes. And I think that they would have to make an actively bad album for us to change our opinion on it. Them putting out a subpar album with a couple hits.
Medicine at Midnight. Yeah.
Is fine. So that's the bias, is that we're all, unless they do something just horrible.
I agree. And I'm joking. Medicine at Midnight. What is it? Oh, hello.
He's got to go potty. Where's the bias?
Where's the bias, Evil?
Oh, he's so handsome.
The bias is the history we have, like going into about Nirvana, Foo Fighters, the history. Our bias is the history of us growing up with Dave Grohl.
Sure.
Really is what it is.
What is the worst song on the album, Evil?
People are going to hate me for this.
Say it.
I think it's the song is great, but I don't want a 10-minute Foo Fighters song.
Fair.
Oh. And it's The Teacher. And
you already spoiled
it's
it.
about his mom. I mean, it's the right answer for all the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. But
10-minute Foo Fighters song.
10-minute Foo Fighters song.
So my least favorite song is Beyond Me. That's all the stuff that I don't like that the Foo Fighters do. It's just really generic cut and paste anthem stuff. It's like what? Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. It seems very, very fucking fake to me. I also think Rest is pretty boring, but I get it. Sometimes you just have to write that song. That song is clearly his emotions of Taylor, and I get that, but it's actually kind of a boring song. Rach, worst song?
We all have different ones, which is interesting. I said Hearing Voices. It was just kind of boring. I like my Foo Fighters hard.
I bet you do.
She said.
There it is.
She definitely said that.
She definitely said that.
So do people who aren't Dave Grohl's wife.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, very true.
Yes.
Best song on the album, I will be the yin to Evil's yang. I should have said Wang.
Oh,
funny.
Gross.
The Teacher. I think The Teacher hits everything that makes the Foo Fighters amazing. So the opposite of what I was saying.
Because they had 10 minutes to do it.
The harmony's amazing. The guitar's killer. Dave Grohl's growls are fantastic. It's driving rock. It's Foo Fighters driving rock. But Here We Are is my favorite. That song is so good. It's they're so good at the really cutting, unique guitar riffs. And like I said, him just screaming from his soul. But Here We Are is like, even if you're punching through this album and you just aren't feeling it, when that comes on, you feel it. Rach, what about you?
That's fair. I said Rescued, and that's a really easy answer, but it was just such a good introduction to this album that it really makes you want to keep listening to it.
I'll be damned if Foo Fighters isn't amazing at track one, side ones. They've always 100%. Been amazing at it. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Do we stand by these rankings, everybody? It sounds like a predominant no, but that's the problem. What the fuck are we going to put there? For me, 10,000 Gex deserves to be up top. If you had to put another album on this list that you think 2023 would be remembered for,
in the top three, like we'd pop one out, put another one in there.
Yeah, whatever. We should have been talking about this album instead. Not I love this album, but a 2023 will be remembered for.
I mean, I know we've said. Evil said, and I bet
Wretched in the Arena.
Sour is a more memorable Olivia Rodrigo song. But I feel like because she's pop, because everybody listens to her, that is the album that people are going to remember for better or for worse. It's definitely not the best album of 2023 by any means, but out of the ones that we've talked about, that's what people are going to think about when they think about 2023.
I mean, for me, it's obviously the Unearth album. I think there's an argument to be made for both the Olivia Rodrigo and the 100 Gex album. Not just because those are the two I picked from your guys' list, but I don't know. History's weird because, you know, when the retrospective of 1969, we talked about a lot of music that wasn't even near the top of the charts that year. I don't know if we can predict what will be the most influential talked about music from 2023 moving on. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
That's why I don't think we can really do that stuff super well until we get to 5 and 10 years.
Sure.
Yeah. Foreshadowing for our 5th year next year, ladies and gentlemen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our episode. None of you are listening anymore. We've pissed off every fucking person that came on to listen to this.
Bye.
But really, if you listen to what we actually said,
we're nice.
We enjoyed. We see the good in all of these albums, and it's why we picked them.
Sure.
Okay? Keep that in mind. We picked these albums. So fucking back off, bro. And join us next week when we get to what did we miss this year? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 20 albums that we missed.
Jesus.
Some hot takes and some cold takes. We're going to talk about all of them. Evil, I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Yep.
Rachel, I'll see you in 11 minutes.
Probably.
All right, everybody. We love you. Good night and good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I wanna stay right by your side, 'cause you and me, we fit together naturally.